Hello and welcome to the theElpyDimension. I am your guide, Elpy. This is not a worm bin. I've been doing so many worm videos lately that I'm used to starting off with, and this is worm bin, mixed worm bin number blah blah blah. Anyway, so today, this is the first video in a series of seed table talks that I'm going to be doing. And we're going to start with a flower seed haul that I was able to make thanks to some holiday gift cards to Baker Creek. As well, I have some nice goodies here, a couple of books that I got. So let's start off with the freebie, which is always wonderful. This is the Persian carpet zinnia. I actually was looking at this and I almost got it. However, you know, you can't get everything that you want. And so I thought, oh, okay, I'll put this one aside. In part because my mom has a lot of smaller, not a lot, but she has some smaller zinnia varieties, and I saved seeds. I saved some of the seeds from her house. So, you know, when I'm buying stuff, I thought, yeah, I don't need to get those. But anyway, so it was really cool that these came in the order. It says Zinnia Hegina, Persian Carpet Zinnia, Annual 1952 AAS winner. Stunning gold, red, chocolate, orange, and cream. Many bicolors, 2 inches, double flowers, dwarf 15-inch plants. They're full sun plants. Take about 4 to 6 days to sprout. Zinnias are a favorite in the garden for people, but specifically pollinators. I see when the monarchs, which sadly I don't see very many of, but when I do see them, they're always visiting zinnia plants. And hummingbirds do as well. And I think all the zinnias I have actually are they're taller plants. So I'm excited to get an opportunity to grow a shorter plant as well. I really love the bicolor. And it's fun when you have a mix because you don't know when you plant the seeds what you're going to get. So it doesn't say, I don't know if 14 refers to, there's 14 seeds in here, but hey, free is free. I will take free 99 all day. All right, next up is the polar bear zinnia. I thought this would be fun because I have a lot of other colors. And I liked the idea of growing a white zinnia. It kind of has almost a greenish tint to it, so we'll see what happens. Annual white dahlia type flowers, very large and magnificent, a must for bouquets. That's another thing about zinnias is they do make great cut flowers. Okay, so that's it for the zinnias. Here's another freebie that I got, Phlox Lavender Beauty. This is phlox. Actually, I have a lot of phlox that is growing perennially. It is a perennial in my area. I bought phlox plants from a store. Gosh, they've probably been in my yard for 7 or 8 years at least, and they, they drop their seeds and they come back every year. I don't know if the actual individual plants themselves come back every year. They might, or if it's the seeds that they drop. But that being said, I have white, pink, and purple phlox in my yard. So this is still nice to have. Or who knows, I might just pass it on to someone. It says the softest, most romantic, dusky lavender blooms. Annual, biennial, 12 to 18 inches tall. These more compact phlox are supreme for cottage gardens, beds, and borders, and cut flower design. I've never used them in bouquets. Not that I make a lot of bouquets, but they would be nice. Sometimes I find it hard to cut the flowers, as much as I love having them inside, because I feel like I'm taking them away from the garden and I'm taking them away from all the wildlife that could be appreciating it. And they say full sun, but what's interesting is that I get a lot of phlox that grows in rather shady parts of my yard. That sounds interesting, right? A rather shady part of my yard over there. Be careful. So yeah, there's a corner of my yard that is nearly a full shade area, and I do get some phlox that grows there. They grow very tall because they reach, but they bloom. So that's an awesome one, Lavender Beauty Phlox. And then this is my first go round with celosia flowers, also called coxcomb. This one apparently is not a coxcomb, but I guess it doesn't have that sort of, you know, you think of a rooster's comb. I always just think of a brain when I see those flowers. I have always thought these are the coolest looking flowers, but then I could never bring myself to actually buy them because I thought that's all they were, was cool to look at. Not that I don't have things in my yard that are only cool to look at, that I don't eat. But then when I was looking through the Baker Creek catalog, the free one, I discovered a cool thing. This is Orient number 2. Here's what I discovered. The edible flowers make a lovely tea. Did they say edible? What? This dwarf coxcomb features massive lipstick red crests. The tidy, busy plants average just 8 inches tall and bear impressive, tightly woven and wrinkled heads, about 8 inches or more across. This is the perfect bedding coxcomb, but it is also ideal for other compact spaces. The edible flowers make a lovely tea. What? You can make tea with these? That is so cool. And only 8 inches tall, but the flowers get 8 inches? Yeah, we had to have this one. Let's put that there. And we'll save that one last because it's different. Then the Red Raven. I mean, I think that's self-explanatory why I picked it, right? But check out what's cool about this one. And I don't know if the same is true for all coxcombs, but 90 to 100 days. And I noticed that they don't put on all the packets their maturity, their harvest time. It differs with the plants. You know, if you 90 to 100 days, you're going to have, one thing I think I can safely say about flowers is you're going to have flowers in 90 to 100 days. But that's kind of a long season. So with its striking red leaves and large blood red blooms, this variety brings a dramatic flair to the garden. The leaves are edible and the blossoms can be made into tea. Compact, easy to grow, and so beautiful. The leaves are edible. So that's what I was saying. I don't know if all coxcomb, if their leaves are edible, but wow, wouldn't that be cool to put these in a salad? I wonder what they taste like. More on that. Don't go making any decisions off of what you hear me talk about here. Like, don't just, they say they're edible, but I'm just reading what they say. Go do your own research. That's what I'm gonna do. And I'm just one garden enthusiast to another. So yeah, there's my disclaimer. Do your own research. Make decisions based on your own information. And we just come here to chat and share stuff with each other. Anywho, so yeah, I love to when more compact plants, in part because I have so many different plants that I want to grow and that I do grow. It's nice when you find something that is compact. That being said, I've grown compact plants that aren't so compact. Your conditions are going to affect how a plant actually grows. If you don't already know, if you grow something in a shadier spot or the sun isn't as bright, that plant is going to be taller than what you might expect because it's going to reach for that light. Okay, so then we have the Indiana Giant. Jared Gettle and his family received seeds of this amazing mammoth variety from an Amish family while traveling in Indiana around 2004. The deep crimson, tightly curled heads can reach to 14 inches across, a perfect choice for cutting gardens, landscaping, and county fair displays. The fact that the heads could get 14 inches across, that would be interesting. And all of these are not frost hardy, and they are full sun. And lastly, the Chinese wallflower. So it is still of the same genus. These are all celosia, but it is not a coxcomb, which is interesting though because it same species, right? Celosia argentei, but obviously a different variation. A nearly extinct edible ornamental, phenomenally tender and delicious leaves. There we go with delicious leaves again. The greens of this beautiful celosia have been our favorite ingredient at the Baker Creek Test Kitchen. We love them tempura style on pizza and in salads. Blooms look like a tangle of colorful yarn. Full sun, not frost hardy. They all appear to take 2 to 3 weeks, 14 to 21 days to sprout. Start indoors 3 to 4 weeks before transplanting out after last frost, or sow in place after frost. The main reason this when you said nearly extinct, I'm like, oh, okay, so this is, let's bring this baby back. But then when you say favorite ingredient, test kitchen, delicious leaves, yeah, those are trigger words for me. I'm very curious about these leaves. So if I don't grow, well, again, this is a haul, a flower seed haul. I've not decided yet which of these I plan to grow this season. I absolutely will be growing a couple of these. Oh, I think I'm going to sneeze. This for sure I'm going to grow this year. And there's only 15 seeds in. No, minimum 50 seeds. It must be really small. For $5, this is an expensive flower to me. But it's special. I think it's special. So it was worth it. And for sure, I'm going to try the red raven and the Chinese wallflower. We'll see if I do even more, but for sure, these two this year. Oh, and of these, I'll probably give both of these a shot this year as well. The phlox, I will not. Again, I might even pass these on because I have phlox, but we'll see. Next up is also another variety that don't peek, okay, that I've never grown, but I've always thought they look really cool, and I said, you know what, let's do it. Gomphrena. Isn't that a really interesting looking flower? They remind me of clover heads. So atomic purple, 85 to 100 days, Gomphrena globosa. Rugged plants produce profusions of tiny purple blooms. This heat and drought-tolerant annual is excellent in borders, landscapes, containers, and in the cutting garden. This everlasting bloom is tidy and uniform, perfect for dried arrangements. That's pretty cool. I just think these are full sun, not frost hardy. That's not what I was going to say, but I just think they're a really cool looking flower, and they will, maybe I will be making some bouquets. This striking, vibrant beauty is the Strawberry Fields Gomphrena, a different species. Hagina. A favorite cutting flower, Strawberry Fields produces profusions of vivid lipstick red blooms on sturdy 18-inch long stems. Stunning when planted en masse and a phenomenal bedding flower. It produces long season color that does not tire. Very cool. 6 to 8 inches apart. So these can be planted rather close to each other. I really hope to have kind of a large flower bed. I've been talking about, at least for a couple of years, that I just want to have a side of my yard, along the fence, just full of flowers, and these would be a great candidate for that. This one I'm for sure gonna grow. Okay, next up we got some dahlias. I've been meaning to update you guys on the dahlia tubers that I was surprised I even got, because I never planted. I grew some seedlings, and then I planted some seeds and therefore grew some seedlings that I never planted out. However, I was pleased to find that they did produce tubers in the seed cells. And I need to update you on that because, yeah. Anyways, so I always see dahlias on Instagram mainly. And my gosh, these are impressive flowers. And people who grow dahlias are serious, and I don't blame you. But these are the ones that I got. I think that's an interesting name. The Unwins Mix. They still look like winners to me. Dahlia hybrida. Tender perennial. Low-growing bedding type. Single and semi-double flowers in a colorful mix of rose, orange, yellow, crimson, purple, and brick red. Okay. Tubers may be overwintered in frost-free conditions and replanted the following year. All right, so it's not a perennial for me. Full sun, not frost hardy. All right. Then we have the Dandy Improved. Perennial zones 3 to 10. Dahlia variabilis. Perennial zones 3 to 10. Compact plants sit just about 2 feet tall and create a splash of vibrant warm colors with a unique set of central petals. Great for containers, beds, and borders. Darling blooms reach 2.5 to 3.5 inches across and are incredibly attractive to a range of pollinators. Tubers may be overwintered in frost-free conditions and replanted following year. That's interesting to me because they say perennial in zones 3 to 10. So if you tell me that, then I'm going to believe that it shouldn't, maybe overwintered in frost-free conditions. This is a little confusing to me. Someone help me out. Right? Tubers may be overwintered in frost-free conditions, so that tells me pull them up like everyone does and put them somewhere safe and replanted the following year. But then you also tell me that they're perennial in zones 3 to 10. I'm in zone 6. So perennial means that I should be able to leave them in the ground. Doesn't that make sense? Anyways, I'll probably only grow these this year because I have other dahlias that are going to get a shot first. But I got some dahlias because I just really want dahlias in my yard. Okay, next up is Bachelor's Button. Funny part about Bachelor's Button is I have 3 different colors and I have grown them, but I never once I got a flower. And last year, I believe they got eaten. But Bachelor Button are an edible and they're also perennial. And I just thought these were a really cool color. Classic Magic. Centauria or Centauri. Cyanus. Classic Magic Bachelor's Button, 65 to 75 days. This mystical blend of plum, aubergine, and lilac is a thrilling departure from the classic blue Bachelor's Buttons. Excellent for arrangements, beds, and borders, and the flowers are edible. 3-foot-tall plants will be buzzing with pollinators. I've not yet tried the flowers, but this will be my year because I'm going to get Bachelor's Button flowers. However, I'm gonna plant them all. It doesn't say these are perennial, but 6 to 12 hours as opposed to 8 to 12, so they can handle a little less sun. They are frost hardy, which is excellent. 6 to 10 inches. They don't have to be planted too far apart, but these definitely are I'm gonna give them a shot this year. Next up, Snapdragon Bazaar Mix. I have a special relationship with snapdragons because my brother did a video of them talking to him, and it is a classic. But these are really, really cool, aren't they? They are bizarre. So we had to try them. 110 days. Antarinum magus. 110 days. Throw a party in the flower patch with these tie-dyed blooms in a range of bold colors and patterns. What better way to liven up borders and brighten up bouquets than with these funky edible ornamentals? And I didn't know that snapdragons were edible for the longest time. part of how I discovered that they were edible was because how the GMO tomato, the purple tomato, was made was actually they spliced genes from a snapdragon into a tomato in order to get the color. I didn't know snapdragons were edible, so at least there's that, right? I am not for GMO crops. Hybrids and GMOs are two totally different things. GMO occurs, genetically modified organisms or bioengineered organisms occur in the lab. Hybrids occur naturally as well as in the lab, or you can go hybridize GMO. When we generally, people will argue that GMO is genetically modifying also occurs naturally, and we could, sit there and splice the words all we want, but I'm going to refer to genetically modified or bioengineered organisms as things that are done in the lab. So genetically modifying is splicing genes, whereas hybridizing is taking the pollen from one plant and putting it onto the stamen. I should know these things. Okay, I had to get that right. So you transfer pollen onto the stigma, which is a part of the pistil, which is the flower's female reproductive organs, parts. Anyways, so hybridizing is not GMO, and hybridizing occurs naturally. A lot of the foods that we eat are the result of hybridization in the wild. Anyways, okay, so yeah, I am going to be growing these this year. Full sun, not frost hardy. I hear mixed things about snapdragons and shade, but I've grown some snapdragons, but they never really do super well for me. But I'm not giving up, and I've never tasted the flower, so we need to do that. Next up, we have the Pansy Historic Florist Mix. Pansies are classic, and you should definitely have them in the garden. I've underestimated them in the past. When I first got back to gardening, sometimes you feel like I just want all the amazing flowers, but these guys really they grow and grow and grow, or they bloom and bloom and bloom. And that's something that I really value, is a flower that blooms long term. I love all flowers. They're magic to me. They're really true beauty. And I mean, I think I say everything in nature is magic, but flowers are just, they're the fairies out in your garden. Yeah, so I love all flowers, but gosh, when you have a flower that only lasts for 2 weeks, it's like, bah, bah, bah. So to find flowers that last a long time is really special. And I'm wondering if when this is a historic florist mix, I do have one from them called Brushstrokes Pansy. And I think they said that was kind of back then that was a historic variety. And some of these kind of look like that. But still, they did bloom for me last year. And again, they're very small, unassuming flowers, but they were really pretty. Viola Whitrockiana, or is it Whitrockiana? A throwback to the smaller antique pansies with a lovely mix of shades from plum to bronze and canary yellow centers. Tuck these tidy 8-inch tall beauties into beds, borders, containers, and cottage gardens, and don't forget that the blooms are also edible. 6 to 12 hours, so they can take a little less sun, and they are frost hardy. They definitely are frost hardy, and plant this in your garden. If you got a spot, they are very small. So put them somewhere where they're not going to get buried by something else. They're also great for the top level of a green stalk. And since they're so small, they don't need as much space, which also means they don't need as much soil. So you can put them in more shallow containers. But again, I still have not tried the blossoms. But definitely this year we're going to do those. Okay, Panorama Red Bee Balm. I have spotted bee balm and regular bee balm. And, you know, I thought, why not give a different variety of bee balm a try? And I know that the pollinators love bee balm. Monarda didima? Perennial zones 3 to 9, scarlet blooms will beckon pollinators and other beneficial bugs to the garden. Plants reach 30 inches tall and form clumps that will return each year. A pollinator magnet, it blooms in its second year. Yes, my spotted bee balm has been growing. So it says 6 to 12 hours full sun, but I've found that at least spotted bee balm can take some shade. Frost hardy, absolutely. There is my spotted bee balm. This winter I'm going to be posting some throwback videos from the summer because why not? I never posted them and I still want to. And for those of us who are in the cold, it's fun to look back at the things that we are missing and we'll soon see. And that being said, I'm gonna excuse me. I'm getting over a cold, but I feel like I just inhaled something. I gotta find this video of, I believe it's called the giant black wasp, and they love the spotted bee balm. I've never been stung by them, but they definitely have. When I've gotten close to the plant, sometimes they kind of act like, hey, you do know this is ours, right? But anyways, so that is a yes this year. Now, stock. I've never grown stock before, but I heard, and I even heard recently, that they smell amazing. Quartet Marine, and I think they're beautiful, and I just wanted to give them a shot. Matthiola incana, or is it Matthiola incana? 90 to 100 days, stunning blooms have soft rose centers with deep pink back petals. Fantastic fragrance. The multi-branching spray type plants are excellent for floral design and fine gardening, and the blooms are edible. Plants average 18 to 24 inches tall. Again, edible blooms. Oh man, we need to do some flower tasting. 8 to 12 hours, and they are frost hardy. Cool. So they need full sun, but they're frost hardy. Aren't they beautiful? Edible and super beautiful. Did I say beautiful? Hollyhock. Majorette double champagne. So I got these in part. I was thinking about my great aunt. She loves hollyhocks. And I would just like to grow these and maybe grow some for her as well. Maybe they'll take them. Alcea rosea. Annual, biennial. So I think that means that they will grow for 2 years. Or they might come back a second year. Sweet Williams are biennial. Romantic, soft, blushing pink powder puffs with dark pink centers freely produced on dwarf plants. So 6 to 12 hours, and they are frost hardy. I just want to try them because they're beautiful. Coleus. Now, I've saved seeds for Coleus the last couple of years. Last year, I had 55 plants that grew, and I up-potted. I grew them all in a small pot. I put all the seeds because they're so small, and I was able to up-pot 55 teeny tiny little plants, and just about all of them survived, and then I barely planted them. I get a little overzealous, but I used to discriminate against plants that only had pretty leaves. I shouldn't say that because variegated leaves I've always thought were magnificent. But, I started to lean towards I want flowers and edible things. But my love for Coleus has returned, and they are just, I don't know how it ever even faded, because how cool that this thing might as well be flowering all the time. These are its leaves. And I've seen these in the store. My man, he had some kind of like this, and I wanted to save seeds from it because they do flower, but their flowers are very unassuming. They're kind of the opposite of the flowering plants we all flock to, or we all hollyhock to, or that we want to keep in stock. Don't feel balmy towards me because I'm being corny. Because those plants, their plants are meh, and their flowers like wow. But these guys, their leaves, their plants are like wow, and their flowers are like meh, you barely see them. But yeah, I thought these looked really cool. Coloca, or is it Colocha? Colocha sounds cool, but Colocha Sunset. Ooh, let's try the scientific. Selenostemen or Selenostemen scutellarioides. Scutellarioides. We're going to go with that. A burst of tropical sunset colors and busy frilled leaf edges make this one a unique and eye-catching coleus. These 12-inch tall plants are compact and tidy with a full and bushy habit, and the foliage is reminiscent of tie-dye in a kaleidoscope of colors. This is going to be cool. Absolutely be great for containers. And it says 6 to 12 hours, but so not all coleus are shade-loving plants, but there are a lot of varieties of coleus that are, some are full shade. Like I really prefer that you don't put me in too much sun. And so that, to me, that's another reason that I've even, that I want to grow more coleuses, because I do have some more shadier spots. Gosh, it feels like there's no seeds in here. Well, maybe there's like a packet here, but I know they're super tiny. I did save some again this year, so I'm stoked to grow these, and I will definitely, they're not frost hardy. They'll be Baby's Breath, Carmine Pink. So I had a shade blend flower mix that I sowed in bed C, which in my back garden, it's the far left one that I currently have full of garlic. And that gets the most shade. That's where my collards keep growing year after year, and they drop seeds. And but I had a flower mix there before, and one thing that grew really, really well there was Baby's Breath. And they were white, which is what we're typically used to. It was just really beautiful. And I wouldn't have thought ever to grow Baby's Breath. But it was really cool. It was so pretty, and I did save seeds from it. So when I saw this and I saw pink Baby's Breath, I thought, gosh, yes. Gypsophila elegans, Carmine Pink Baby's Breath. Sporting profusions of dainty, deep pink flowers, this variety lends ephemeral but bright splashes of color to beds, borders, and cut flower arrangements. Baby's Breath will bloom and bloom provided summer temperatures don't climb over 85. Well, even here in Michigan, I could promise you we're going to get over 85. But still, we'll take the blooms as long as possible. So every 2 weeks for continuous blooms. That's cool. 8 to 12 hours, they're not frost hardy. Yes, we're going to grow those. Last but not least for the flowers, the blue disc African daisy. I have been wanting to grow this flower ever since I laid my eyes on it a couple of years ago. And I don't know why I haven't, but I just haven't. I think my mom might actually have. Isn't that just really pretty? What more do I need to say? Osteospermum eclonus. Blue disc African daisy. Annual, striking, silvery white ray flowers offset the steel blue eyes or centers. Plants reach up to 24 inches. Thrives in heat. Full sun, not frost hardy. Help me out, folks. That looks kind of blue. Okay, blue eyes, steel blue eyes. Okay, all right. I've noticed that in the flower and the plant world, that blue is A lot of flowers that are called blue are purple to me. They are definitely purple. In fact, when I had my large orchid collection, rest in peace, I really wanted to try and find and grow blue flowers. Try and find the truest blue orchid, which was, there are a lot of them, but it's not common because they're often just like purple. Like I've seen flowers that are more that edge color than that dark, because even that is blue, but it's borderline purple to me. I mean, if that was broccoli, we'd probably call it purple sprouting broccoli. Would we not? Anyways, when I think blue, I think blue. Yes, I got me some. Okay, so yes, these are going to be grown. It thrives in poor soil, by the way, which is a funny thing because whenever I see that, like they say that about nasturtium, that nasturtium plants, they love crappy soil. And then when I see them do really well, I'm like, does that mean my soil's crappy? So, drought tolerant once established. Sow in the fall in mild climates or spring where winters are severe. So for me, I'll be sowing in the spring. It sounds like they say, saying don't. Well, again, Baker's Creek is a good company. They don't give a whole lot of information on their 75 seeds. That's nice. On their packets, because they don't always say, you know, like how long does it take for this to mature, and should I start it indoors? When should I start it indoors? Which, you know, whatever. Like, I think you can also go to their catalog, and I'm not saying that to like bash them, but, and that, you know, what's awesome is that we have each other and we have a lot of resources to say, oh, okay, well, when should I start this indoors, you know? Anyways, so there you have it. That's my seed haul. That is my flower seed haul. And the first of my seed table talks. I'm excited because we're going to grow that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. We'll maybe hold off on you. We'll see. You, we'll see. You, we'll see. You, and you. Because I don't have infinite space. So we'll see. If you've grown, we'll see. What will we see? Will we, LB? Will we see? If you've grown any of these or any of these, I would love to hear your experience. If you have some tips, again, I am in 6A, Michigan. So 6A, the zones, that really just refers to the coldest average temperature that we get. So it's not an end-all be-all, but it does give you an idea of where I'm at. You know, I'm not tropical or subtropical or a warm climate, but we do get really, we have a nice season. So, all right, I think I will save this unboxing, this haul, for a different video. Stay tuned, because I'm going to go ahead and record that now, but we're already at 40 minutes. All right, I hope that you enjoyed this seed haul, and I would love to hear from you in the comments, and stay tuned. If you enjoyed this video, let me know. And if you'd like to follow along, it is free to subscribe, and you can hit the notification bell if you're interested in getting notifications for when I come out with new videos. And like I said, I'm going to be doing a lot more seed talk. Not so much seed hauls, because it's going to be new seeds as well as old seeds, and new seeds that are old and seeds that I harvested. But it's going to be more so about what types of varieties. I'm thinking of certain things like peas and beans. What types of peas and beans am I thinking about growing for the new year? Here's a little sneak peek. These I did just get. Blue Goose cowpeas. I got phenomenal cowpeas a couple years ago from Teresa over at Old Ways Gardening and Prepping. Check her out. She is a wealth of knowledge for real. That woman knows her stuff. And I won some seeds. Actually, I won a bag, a pretty little cloth bag, and she sent me seeds as well. And some of them were cowpeas, and also called black-eyed peas or field peas, but they're actually beans. They're not technically peas. And the ones she sent me are called phenomenal cowpeas, and they were phenomenal. I ate them fresh, or I sauteed them, and these looked cool. So that's just a little preview into one of the things I'm thinking about growing in terms of legumes. All right. Thank you so much for your time and your interest. Be safe. Be well. Bye for now.